Al, welcome to the Beyond the Tools podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so glad. The wonderful thing about the internet is you get to meet brilliant, interesting people all the time. So I'm excited that social media advertising has brought us together here.
I'm kind of glad I'm in that category, I guess.
Absolutely. So, Al, I love your story. I definitely want to dig into that today because I think so many of our listeners can really relate to where you started and certainly aspire to how you've grown.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so tell me, so when you started about 20 years ago now?
Yeah, so it's been, I think, 23 years. I started in 2003, October 1st. Uh, I thought I could do it better than my boss. Little did I know there was a lot more to being in business than what I saw as a young technician, doing mostly new construction. All we look at is, oh, he's raking in all the money, right? Raking in all the money. Look at all that. This is what we get. I feel like I was one of those guys that went out and had chats in the parking lot, right? All the stuff that I don't like now. And now I know, right? Yeah, now I know for sure.
Yeah. So, just so our listeners can get a bit of a sense of the scale, where you at now in terms of team size or revenue or anything you want to share?
It's good. Yeah, we're at about 25, 26 people, and it's funny because I've had more people employed here, and I did like we're making less in revenue. Come to find out after, really kind of getting better at my financials and digging in deeper, right sizing the company for the revenue that it was producing. So we've downsized a few people down because obviously we were overstaffed, either not just in the office, but out in the field as well. And that's been one of the key components that we've worked on in the last couple of years is working
Mm,
on our finances and making sure that we are really listening to our financial situation.
yeah, I love that. And I'm smiling because that's also been a bit of an Achilles heel for me in the past. So I can definitely relate to needing to adjust your staff to the
Yeah,
revenue that you
yeah.
guys
It's
are at.
because the industry, right? The industry, all they want to do is they want to talk about revenue. They don't want to talk about the bottom line. You'll listen to people out in the trades, and they're pounding in chest about their top line revenue, but they'll never tell you what they made at the bottom.
Hmm. Was there some sort of catalyst for you or a certain point that it you really had to take a deeper look at what was going on and get a better handle of your profit?
I think I had a moment where when I first decided to kind of really grow, because I was really, me and an apprentice for a very long time, for maybe the first 10 years, really. I tried to grow it there in between. I came to a point, a couple of years ago, it was like, man, there's got to be a better way of making money. It just didn't. I felt like it was a rat race every day, implementing, putting procedures in, but yet the return on the bottom line was very low. And that's when I really was like, I got to get better at this. Got to figure out what the problem is. Got to figure out the pain points. Got to deal with the issues that I know that are issues that are just easier not to look at. And that's where I started to dig in and fix the holes and plug in the holes in the boat.
Hmm. When you started your company, was that the vision that you had? Like when you started, do you want to build
God no,
a big team?
God no. I just I my vision was make more than my original paycheck of wherever I was, right? That's your goal. Yeah, and we did great the first year, second year, and we've done great from there on out. But then like it becomes reality. Insurances change. They start to come after you for more workman's comp, liability changes. All of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't need that. Yes, you do. You know. So things change, right? And I've always I've always liked to train my brain. So going either to courses at night or meeting up with other people that are in the industry. Then I've um, learned there was more to this business, and then kind of got interested and eager to learn and eager to grow. Right.
Mm. So was it, I guess, at what point in your business did you start to actually invest in leadership and
Yeah.
training for yourself?
So in 2006, I tried to grow, and I had at one time I had four other employees, and I was overwhelmed. I had no processes. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just mostly doing new construction homes, larger stuff. I would shy away from service. I would get calls for service all the time, and I'd shy away and kind of put it to the side or pass it off to somebody else. And then I handled that for about a year, and then I was just like, this is not working out for me. It's too stressful. I don't know how to manage it. I didn't have anybody in the office. I couldn't manage the office and the field and making sure things were getting done. So I decided to downsize again and just went to me and somebody else in the truck. And in 2011, I said, I'm either going to hang it up and go work for somebody else, or I am going to get some help and learn how to grow this. So then I hired a local consultant in 2011. He was from the local area, Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and he helped me grow. He helped me kind of put me on the right path, get me in the right mindset. He wasn't from the industry, but I didn't need him to be from the industry. I needed him to work on me and work on some of my short goals. And then as I saw that I was moving the needle, that's when I was like, okay, this works. I got to get out of my comfort zone and just keep pushing forward.
What were those first signs of what you were doing was actually working?
When I finally hired somebody full time in my office, it's like the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle people that go into business for themselves have to overcome because they're trying to figure out how this person in the office is going to produce some cash flow. But what then you need to realize is how much of your time is going to be freed up by having somebody else do the stuff that you no longer need to do.
And I guess in some cases, those are also the things that you're not necessarily skilled at either.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
imagine for you,
I
started more on the technical
Oh,
side.
yeah, definitely. I didn't know how to use Excel. I didn't know. Bailey knew how to use Word doc. I didn't know how to use any of the Microsoft tools. Email was like the biggest thing I knew how to do, right? Um, so I had to learn all that till now. Now it's different. Now it's like now I can build Zaps through Zapier and all other types of automation, but I I had to learn it, right? You had to learn, get out of your comfort zone to learn stuff.
Yeah. So that initial big milestone of hiring somebody in the office, would you say that that's the most difficult step,
It
or
was.
what do you see as, yeah?
No, that was the most difficult step because once I passed that hurdle, I was like, okay, what else can I delegate? What else do I need to do? And then it was just finding the right key people to kind of get me out of the field in a way, so I could bid on the work. Because what would happen is you would bid on work or estimate work, and you get a bunch of work and then you stop working, and then all the other estimates you either be late to appointments or you'd be like, I'll call you back, and it's 2 days later and you're calling them back. All that stuff is a cycle that's going to hurt you in about 90 days when you're not staying on top of it. So it's like you're good for a while, you have plenty of work, and then you start to say, oh, it's slowing down. Oh, it's because I didn't get back to these estimates and I didn't perform like I was supposed to, and it hurts you. So it was right after I hired that person in the office, and I knew, all right, I need to hire some people that kind of help me in the field a lot better. I have the work for them. I just need to find the right people, and just getting the mindset is that not everybody is going to do it like you, but as long as they can do it in a good workmanship way, that's what you need.
And for you in hiring those roles, just thinking back to what you were saying about working with that consultant, was it a matter of having a roadmap? Was it more of how you thought about business? Like, what was it that ultimately helped you to start to delegate and expand your team?
Well, to hire other people, I needed to get coaching, right? So my consultant coached me on, what to ask for, questions to ask, and I think if in the beginning, he actually sat in a couple with me and helped me through some of the process of good fits, not good fits, because as a tradesperson, um, you're going to get attracted to the people, what resumes that say they can do this type of work and all the work that you want them to do. But what you need to watch out for is, are they going to be reliable? Are they trustworthy? Those are the things that you can't really tell by just what they write on their resume. And those are the items that, as an owner and being the only one that was hiring, that I had to kind of like, I had to learn. Like, is this person give me a good gut feeling that I'm sitting with right now, talking through things? Like, that's like my biggest thing now when I hire. If I don't get a good gut feeling in a in-person meeting, it's not going to work out. Yeah.
That makes sense. Love that. So really just having someone who had that insight of here are the different
Yeah.
areas in your business that you're struggling, and they can really get in with you to help you overcome
Yeah.
that step.
Anybody who wants to grow their business, you need some type of mentorship, or you need someone that can coach you along. You can't you can't do it yourself. The most richest people in the world, they have coaches, right? They have mentorship. Okay. They need somebody to talk to as well, and talk to them just about their day to day, their ideas, where their mindset is. Sometimes they just need people to help them with their mindset.
Yeah. And for you, were there any big mindset shifts that you had to go through that
Yeah,
you remember?
yeah, definitely. Nobody can do it better than me. Only I can do that. Only, yeah, it's really the I, right? You are your biggest, the owners are the ones that hold themselves back the most from allowing a company to grow and to get ahead. Not allowing others to try and fail, and then kind of help them regroup and kind of push them along, say, hey, this is kind of how you should fix this, and kind of move this along and just follow the process and have processes, right? Because you can't expect somebody to do something if you don't have a process built for them, or KPIs that they should be hitting or measuring. Because now you're just having a how do I feel about the situation conversation versus, hey, you didn't measure up to the KPIs or the processes that we put in place.
Yeah. 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 So really having that a playbook kind of
Yeah.
laid out for everybody. So expectations are clear, how to do things are clear, and
And
that
it's
kind
so
of
easy to
replaces.
learn. It's so easy to learn about all this stuff now. Back when I started, it wasn't, you didn't really kind of, you didn't have everybody that had a YouTube channel and social media, and you can get on to all these platforms, and everybody's kind of sharing their successes and sharing their stories, and for free, they on podcasts. And I, I'm part of, I'm on so many podcasts that, like, I know which ones hit on Monday. I know which ones hit on Tuesday. I know which ones hit on Wednesday, and I look forward to them, right? My drive time university, and it's all free. It wasn't like that back in 20 years ago when I first started.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. I think the flip side of that is sometimes it can be overwhelming by
Okay.
how many options. Have you found that as you've grown, you needed to look into other coaching or consulting, or like how have you sought out different coaches or mentors as you've grown?
It's funny because I still work with that same consultant coach on a period of times. Like, well, I'll work with him for a little bit during the beginning of the season. Sometimes I bring him in just to work with my team, my management team. But being part of best practice groups really helps as well. Because you get to meet other people that are in the industry that probably been at a point where you're stuck and you want to grow to, doing shop tours, all these things help you. everything that wasn't available in the past. Best practices groups have always been there, but I don't think that they were well kind of like advertised, I guess. Like people in it, I didn't know about best practice groups until maybe 2014, right? That they were out there because
Yeah,
I was,
absolutely.
yeah, I was never part of maybe, I was never part of a group locally that would talk about it, right? It's almost like they were in it, but they didn't want to talk about it because they didn't want anybody else to know that there were groups like that, right?
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. I still see that, and I'm still surprised that there are plenty of contractors that are
Hmm.
struggling to do things on their own. So I think it's great when people like you can
Yeah.
talk about all those options that are actually out there. That first hire, having somebody in the office was crucial for you. Then getting help out in the field, particularly with estimates and that whole process. What was the next stage for you of scaling up?
The next stage for me for scaling up was, just learning a little bit more about the industry. The other piece was getting out of new construction was the best thing I ever did. Uh, you're constantly chasing contractors to get paid. You're you're working on their schedule and they're constantly messing up yours. So the best thing I did was, all right, started looking for the service work, started looking for to do more interactions with the homeowner, and started cutting out the contractors that weren't paying, or they pay late all the time. They weren't great. So I decided to go the other way and go more towards the home services realm. I've been without new construction now since 2017, I would say 2016, 2017. I stopped doing new construction. So everything I do is directly with a homeowner. We do have some one or two small contractors that do kitchen and bathroom remodel, but that's perfect for us. Um, and that that is the type of work to me that you're either in a niche or you're not, right? You can't you can't be in both. It's really hard to do, say, new construction and do home services at the same time. Okay, but I think those that do well with it, they usually they're really departmentalized, where this department only takes care of that, and this department only takes care of that. These inside people only take care of the home service people, and there's really not any crossover.
Was it originally that you were doing so much new construction that you didn't want to do service work, or was there something else that was holding you back from service jobs?
It it's because I was in the field, right? So the one of the reasons why I stayed in new construction, it was easier. I didn't want to pick up in the middle of a job to go do a service call, so I was already focused, and my truck was unloaded, ready to go, and I'm working with the team. I didn't want to do that, but I was able to get myself out of the field. I started to see that if I wanted to grow the business, because I went through OA, right? I know what that was like. And that's kind of like right before OA hit, I put my ad in the yellow pages. And I just had this feeling, right? And I put my ad in the yellow pages, and thank God I did, because it helped me stay a little bit busy. But then I started looking back and going, oh my God, all that service work I gave away. I could have had those customers for these bad times. And that's kind of when I started to shift, because you know what? Things are always going to break in homes. Uh, and I found that, new home construction can stop at any given time, right? So that's why I started to shift my focus.
That makes total sense. And I think your story in terms of being so involved in new construction and working in the field and therefore not being able to do
Hmm.
service work is so familiar. I think that's such a common challenge.
It's it's
So,
it's the easiest work to get when you first start off, right? Is working with a contractor. There's so many contractors that are out there that it's the easiest one to start off with to do. The service work is harder. It's harder to get, and and you need a lot more service calls during the day to stay busy.
It's
So
true. Yeah.
one service call sometimes is not enough. You need two or three a day. You know.
Mm. How did you start to get enough volume to be able
Yeah.
to transition fully?
I got myself involved in a BNI. So I think it's really good for people, especially when they're starting off to get their business kicked off and really kind of get the word of mouth is to get involved in a BNI. Get involved in your community really, and get the word out there and just be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that when I started too, it was very much about local
Yeah.
grassroots things, getting involved in associations, going to different events and networking and that sort of thing. And nothing really beats that face to face time.
It doesn't. And it's a great way to get your business name out there.
Yeah, and speaking of business name, I know that you've built such a strong local brand
Hmm.
around your family name. Can you tell us a bit about what that means to you personally and why you've stuck with that name?
Yeah, I've never really figured out my brand story until about probably a couple months ago, if that. Um, I've always wondered, I always blamed my name, my company name being because it was a way I had to get licensing in the state. But I was always been reluctant of changing it just because it did mean something. And, my dad came here to the US in the 1970s, the early 1970s, on a work visa, worked his way, and then was able to bring my mom and my three sisters here to the U.S. from the Azore Islands. So Azores are 9 islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I think at the time maybe the island where my parents were from had 50,000 people. So my parents immigrated. Me and my brother were born here. There were some struggles in the beginning of the 1970s when my parents, new language, new culture, new everything, right? Learning. Good thing that there was a community here in Lowell, Massachusetts that would help each other out. But there was always still real struggles, right? There were factory workers. My dad would do anything to do other items for ends meet, like we had goats and my parents would make goat cheese and sell it. And then eventually we ended up buying a little corner store with a cousin of ours, and things kind of started to move along. Things got better, right? Just in general, right? Finances for my parents got better, everything got better. And then eventually my parents moved back to Portugal, to the Azores in 1993. I moved with them. I was about 12, 13 years old. I found myself to be the immigrant now, right, in another country, kind of doing the same work my dad was doing. I was going to school and helping him in the farm. He went back to farming and milking cows and stuff like that. So I learned all of that. It's an education that I would not give up for anything else. It was the best education I've ever gotten. And then in like 2016, 2017, I came back and I went back to high school. I went back to a Greater Lowell Technical High School actually and learned the trade. My brother was already a plumber, and he was living here in the U.S. He had a good comeback as well a couple of years prior than I did. And then I ended up just falling in love with the trade and stuck with it.
That's amazing. I'm curious how that foundation and your upbringing of an immigrant family and then being an immigrant yourself in Portugal, how has that influenced your business and the values that you guys carry as a company?
Yeah, it's pretty much trust, loyalty, and honesty, right? Trust, loyalty, and honesty is what we ask of everybody on this team, and how they portray themselves when they're in somebody else's home.
Hmm, I love that.
All right.
So, Al, obviously, you've come a long way over the last couple of decades running this company. What do you see for the future of A Fagundes Plumbing and Heating?
Yeah, for the short term, we're looking at doubling our revenue, increasing our growth, bringing a lot more team members on. Um, and I can't do that. Honestly, really can't do that without the home support that I get from my wife. I have two small children, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so it's very busy when I get home, but it's a good distraction. Right? It's great. It's a different life when you get home from work. So that's really my future is making them happy and making sure that there's something left behind for my kids when they're ready to go. I am not looking to sell to a PE group. That is not what I intend to do. I intend to keep this for a very long time, the way that it's going in growth.
I love that. And is that something that you hope? I mean, obviously, your kids are very small now,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
imagine you hope that as they grow, that they'll want to be involved in the business too.
Yeah, so the first day of school this year, they're all holding up their little chalk sign, right? And one says, "My oldest wants to be a YouTuber," right? It's because I've shot a lot of videos and I have them on YouTube, so he sees those, so now he wants to be a YouTuber. He thinks I'm a YouTuber. The YouTube plumber, he calls me. And then my other one actually wanted to be a plumber, my smaller one, right? They come to the shop all the time. We have boxes of toys here. They're very welcome. Everybody knows my kids when they come here. So sometimes we come here and we hang out on a Saturday. It's not what I want to do, but our shop is really nice. And we come and hang out. We have TVs everywhere. We get the TVs going, and they just playing with their toys everywhere. And sometimes I can do some small stuff I'd like to do, and we just get to hang out here at the shop. Anytime I go home, sometime during the week, and if they're home, they want to come to the shop. So you know what? I kind of encourage that, right? I don't want to be the dad, be like, oh, go do something else when you get older. This one's a great business, and if my kids want to go this, come on, let's do this. You can do this. It's really good.
I love that. That's so sweet. So, Al, for any of those contractors listening who are where you were, they're working in the field, they just can't really seem to get ahead. What's one piece of advice that you'd like to leave them with?
You got to get out of your own way, but you got to want it more than what everybody else is telling you why you should do it.
Beautiful. So, Al, for anyone listening who wants to learn a little bit more and connect with you,
Yeah.
what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, you can reach out to me. My work phone is 978-735-2845. You can reach me at al@afphpro.com. You can look us up on the website. Um, you can find us at Fix It at Fagundes, either on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So however you guys want to reach out, go ahead and reach out. I appreciate it, and I like to have conversations about business and what's going on, and sometimes I can learn something from somebody else that I haven't learned yet either.
Amazing. And we'll put all those links in our show notes on our website as well. Al, thank you so much for
No,
sharing your
thank you.
story and
Appreciate it.
insights.
Thank you, Crystal.